we're going to create brain mush for kids if we don't show them how AI can be used well, but also why they need to do the hard yards. The skill of learning to learn is going to be the future-proof skill. I think we need to stop pretending that we can be experts of everything anymore.
Welcome back to the second season of Rules Don't Apply, in partnership with our friends at South by Southwest Sydney. Once again, we're bringing raw, unfiltered conversations with the thinkers and troublemakers, rewriting what success looks like, because the future doesn't belong to those who play it safe.
Ladies and gentlemen of South by Southwest, Merry Thursday. If you are in the gallery, come on over. We are about to record another live episode of Rules Don't Apply in partnership with the fabulous team from South by Southwest Sydney. I have the pleasure of being joined by Dr Michelle Dickinson, who is much better known as Nano Girl. Nano Girl is a nanotechnologist, an engineer, a science storyteller, and is on a mission to make STEM radically accessible. She is the founder of Nano Girl Labs and the Matter Workshop. Michelle bridges deep scientific knowledge with human empathy to teach people how to build confidence through experimentation. Her work spans everything from children's education to corporate innovation, but fundamentally, she is at the centre of uniting curiosity, play, and emotional intelligence. Thank you so much for joining us, Nano Girl.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to give you a blank canvas on this because you and I were just talking. What's on your mind right now?
So I am a passionate technologist. I'm an engineer by training, and I love all things tech. I'm an uber nerd, and I think tech is going to be amazing. AI is going to really help solve some things for the world. It might help us think about climate change, disease. But I am really worried. If you think about AI, and everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, right? Most people have had a play on ChatGPT. You go, okay, who are the main players in this space? Sam Altman, OpenAI, Elon Musk, Grok. Like, you can name them, Jeff Bezos maybe, and what he did at Amazon. On a hand. None of these people would I leave alone with my children.
Why do you say that?
Because if you look at what they're building and what their motives are, typically power or profit or both, and if you look at how they're building these products, they're not thinking about keeping humans safe. They're thinking about scaling, expanding, winning, all of the things that they do. And if those people who are driven by that purpose are thinking about what the future should be for them, I don't think that's a future that I want my children to grow up into, which is one where humanity has not been put first, and protocols and safety and guardrails around creativity and IP and ownership and who we are as humans and what we need to survive as humans has been put first. So I worry a little bit that those in power right now are perhaps, they don't have our mere mortals human. They're not putting us first, and we're all diving into this amazing world that looks fun because you can like ChatGPT some fun things, not realizing where your data is going, what people are doing with that, and what the world will potentially look like in a very short period of time.
And do you think that we, the lay people, are even across the reality of these capabilities at the moment? Or do we just see sort of the tip of the iceberg, which is the sort of the consumer front end to all of this?
And I think those who are seeing the consumer front end are still the privileged, right?
True.
I work a lot in digital inequality, where people still don't have a computer at home. They don't have internet access. And so if you think about digital literacy, that is a totally privileged position to be. And I think many of us are like, sure, I know a little bit about deepfakes, but we're not thinking about our elderly relatives who might be totally scammed soon because they see a video of somebody they love in trouble and need to wire money. So I think actually there's a huge lack of awareness. I've just built a charity, it's called Smarter with AI, trying to run a campaign to go, how do we help educate your layperson who doesn't care about the tech behind the scene, they don't care about your tech stack, but actually show them examples of where it may harm them and how they might protect themselves and where their data is going and how they might protect their children and how, if you are going to use AI, that you might protect your children's brains. And I say protect your children's brains really carefully. AI in education is going to be a game changer. But the right type of AI. Right now, because humans are lazy, right? We're all lazy, that's okay. If you said to me, write an essay on something, I'd be like, ChatGPT, write me an essay, make it sound like me,
Path
blah,
of
blah,
least
blah.
resistance, lowest energy expenditure.
I would do that as a 16-year-old. But in doing that, my neurons have not formed, right? Neuroplasticity. I am not doing read through a book, read some things, watch a movie, blah, blah, and pull all that stuff together. So I don't build that foundation for my brain that I need later on in life. And I think we're going to create brain mush for kids if we don't show them how AI can be used well, but also why they need to do the hard yards, because it's really good for forming these neural connections.
So what do we do double barrel question. Let's start with, before we get to parents, which is, closer to home. What are the things that we need to do to put, individual guardrails in place, to marshal the populace toward a future that might be more protected, more accessible, more egalitarian? What are the things that are on us to shape that path?
So education is huge, right? Right now, if I look at AI and digital literacy in our teachers, it's pretty low. There are pockets of amazing, but our teachers are the people who have the most connection to most of our children, and they're the ones who shape the future.
Yep.
What our teachers teach our kid literally is going to shape the next 20 years. So we have to empower our teachers who are amazing to do what they're amazing at and give them the tools to do more of that. Take away their bureaucracy, right? Take away the things that they don't love and bring their joy back to teaching. So I think empowering teachers, number one.
Yep.
They are our lifeline. I think public education campaigns are two. I think legislation moving faster. Like, we're looking at what's happening in Australia around the protecting 16-year-olds from social media. Like, that's cool. It's not amazing, but it's a start.
It's a step. Yep.
More of that stuff. So with AI, how do we put age limits around it? How do we control what our children can and can't be exposed to? I do think we need some protection. And then back to the parents. How do you help parents understand what their kids are doing in their bedrooms, on their devices? And how do you help them just ask good questions or put some safeguards around? Because kids don't know, and kids are always going to go outside. Like, we're always going to push the boundaries. So it all revolves around education, but education of teachers, education of parents, and then education of society.
I find it interesting. It's one of the through veins that has come through in so many of the discussions with guests at South by Southwest this year has been less about the implications of AI on the corporate world, but there's been this real focus on the next generation.
Yeah.
What's your perspective in terms of that tension between really leaning in, right? We've had perspectives around this is the world that they're going to inherit, as a parent, you holding back these technologies is going to set your kids at a disadvantage versus, children just need a childhood. They need to be in the analog. They need to be, there's a time and a place to plunge in, and it's not yet. How do you navigate that from your perspective?
I think that, so I'm a parent,
Yep.
and I treat technology like McDonald's. It's a sometimes treat. It's not an everyday thing. And so I'm really clear about technology too. When I use technology around young people, I'm using it to help them to be creators, not consumers.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So I'm not going, hey, just play a game. I'm saying, hey, here's Scratch. Learn how to make your own game. Like, you've played a game before. What did you love about it? What if you made your own game and everybody played it? And so you can learn how to code. You can learn algorithms. You can learn all around how technology works and be a creator of it.
Got you.
Not just a consumer of, I bought this game. I'm just going to play this for hours on end. So I think you can be really creative around using technology and become digitally literate without it being the thing that you're addicted to, because you have no idea how the addiction works because you haven't made a game that you wanted to make addictive. Once you see the inside of it, I think you treat technology with more respect.
I like that. One of the things that you're, renowned for...
I'm renowned for blowing things up, but yes.
is helping simplify these complex scientific principles into manageable bite-sized chunks for audiences that are accessible. How do we go about that, particularly with younger team members, our children, to try to create a level of awareness for some of these technologies, not just about the subset of functions and forms that we want to talk to, but also the hidden dark sides of these technologies? So,
curiosity,
Yep.
right? You have to ask questions, and you have to... Kids are born with curiosity, right? We drive it out of them in school. We go, I know you're curious. I know you have lots of questions around the periphery, but actually exams don't care about your questions. So I'm going to train you, right, to, number one, just put down on the paper what I've told you to put down, not what you are curious about.
Yeah.
And then you'll succeed in life. And then you can go to university where, and I used to teach at university, my exams were written so that it was easy to mark. Right, because I wanted a summer holiday. And so what did I do? I wrote questions that proved that you came to my lecture, and then you get an engineering degree. But those don't make the best engineers. The best engineers come from people who are curious, who push the boundaries, who go, I wonder what if blah, blah, blah. And so being able to show that curiosity is actually a superpower, even though maybe school doesn't celebrate that superpower, I think it's how we really push the boundaries. So I always say curiosity, number one. And it's really hard as a parent, because I think as parents, if a child asks us a question, we just give them the answer, right? And then if we don't know, we kind of Google it and pretend we knew, right? So I say to parents, hey, pretend you don't know, even if you do, and go, that's a really good question. How might we go about figuring that out? Teach them the art of learning. The skill of learning to learn is going to be the future-proof skill, I think, that's going to survive, help humanity survive. I think it goes back to that. So learning how to learn, curiosity, and then digging deeper into not just taking things at face value, but going, okay, I see this. What are the rules around this? What are we seeing here? How do we learn that? And that's the whole premise of Nano Girl, is the power of curiosity. So Nano Girl was a character I created to help young people to find their superpowers. And their superpower might be science. Their superpower might be art. I don't care what it is. But then when you find it, being able to go, cool, we're all different, and this is my thing. How do I help work on that thing? Because that's probably why I'm here and what I can contribute to the planet with.
Moving from what we need to learn to what we need to unlearn, what are your observations, particularly within, older generations and, older leaders, more established leaders? What are the things that are holding us back that you think we need to unlearn in this, emerging ecology of AI and information?
I think the biggest challenge with grown-ups, and I do lots of fun experiments with grown-ups, and the higher you get up in a position, the worse you are, is the ability to say, I don't know. The ability to not think you should be an expert on something. And so if somebody comes and asks you, and it's trained from school, right? So in school, you were taught on an exam, if you don't know the answer, don't leave it blank, just guess.
Put in your best guess.
Put in your best guess. We've been trained so that now if you ask me something, I can't be like, I don't know, especially in a job perspective.
And the silence is crippling.
Right. I'll just go, blah, 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 right? And I'll just guess and bullshit you confidently. So you go away and I'm like, they don't think I'm an idiot. But actually, I probably didn't know. Or if I did, it was an educated guess. And I think the power is, especially because AI is moving so fast, I spend 8 hours a day working on AI content, building AI, coding, whatever it is. But sitting here recording with you, I bet a new model came out and I'm no longer the expert that I was an hour ago. I think we need to stop pretending that we can be experts of everything anymore. And if you're curious-led and you're able to say, I don't know, going back to that, how could we find the answer for that together? I think it would drive us to better solutions. But I think adults are the worst at saying, number one, I don't know, especially in a public place and especially in front of their colleagues. And number two, we just want to fill in the blank.
So if I'm a leader of a team or an organization, or I'm a teacher, how do I unshackle myself from those stigmas of, God, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to be found out as a fraud. And then how do I cultivate that psychological safety within my team or my organization or my family or,
So it's culture, right? It's organizational culture wherever you are in a school or in a business, and culture makes or breaks teams. It's the ability to go yes or no. So at Nano Girl, it's really interesting because I'm a socially awkward introvert, okay? And I have worked for some of the biggest tech companies in the world as a socially awkward introvert. And I have been in meetings where big decisions have happened and I have looked and gone, that's the wrong decision. But the loudest, most confident person in the room has gone, we should go that way. And everyone's gone, they're loud and confident, that must be the way. And I'm sitting there as the tech nerd going, nah, this is never going to fly. But I never had the ability to go, I think you're an idiot, actually, that's the wrong way. And the other nerds in the room, we're all looking at each other going, oh no, this is the wrong way. But whatever, we'll just follow the loud person. And so when I set up my own organization, I wanted to be able to give a voice to those who don't have a verbal voice like me. My brain works because I'm a deep thinker. You give me a problem, I can't tell you the answer right away, but give me 24 hours and I am immersed in that problem. I will research it, I will push it. I can probably give you an answer tomorrow by email. I'm not going to...
Noodle overnight, come back to me.
Totally. And most organizations don't give that space for that type of brain to actually contribute to the problem. They tend to have a meeting with some Post-its, and I hate Post-its. That's not how my brain works. And then we walk out with an action plan.
We need an output from the meeting.
60 minutes later. And I think it's the worst thing for an organization. So within Nano Girl, what we built was meetings where the agenda has to be sent 24 hours in advance. I don't want a meeting on the fly. That allows my brain to get into... And then we had an introvert-friendly meeting. So it's okay if you didn't speak up in in the meeting, because then there were other ways. You could put a post-it note in a box, you could email, you could do other ways of communicating 24 hours later. So we wouldn't make an action until 24 hours later from the meeting. And those are where the best decisions were actually made, because you're allowing neurodiversity, you're allowing different brains to process differently, because diversity is important. And the loud person in the room can totally shout out their answer, and that's one valid thing.
Yep.
But then those of us who have deep thinking brains also go, I see that, but here's my research on this. And then exec can make a decision. And I think I'd love to see more organizations think about how different brains work and how that can help them solve the actual problem they want to solve, as opposed to, we needed an answer in this meeting, let's just go in a direction.
I want a bit more on this, because I think it's such a brilliant insight around the way that we are wired as organizations for efficiency and outcome.
Totally.
Without giving the space and the breathing room for good ideas to flourish. So beyond widening the aperture of a meeting, right? You know, giving people a longer on-ramp and a longer off-ramp. You mentioned culture, right? And it's a word that's thrown out in the abstract, so, you know, far too often. What are some of the other ingredients into creating a culture that cultivates for neurodiversity? You know, the alphas and the introverts and the quiet leaders and the loud leaders.
Yeah, and so there are lots of them. So one of the things we did at Nano Girl is every Friday we had a failure party meeting. So donuts on the table, 3:00. Tell us what sucked this week. What did you absolutely... And we had a no-blame culture. Things are going to go wrong. If you own it and you get a donut and you tell us about it, we can put preventative measures in there. So, because nothing fails because of you as an individual, right? Things fail because we as an organization, there were lots of little things that probably happened in advance of that meant that this didn't work. And by being open about it and by having no blame, our staff were not afraid to tell me stuff. Whereas I've worked at organizations where you would get fired if it was your fault. Yeah. And so the no blame culture is a really powerful thing, a mechanism to say, okay, mistakes happen and they're all of our fault. They're never just an individual's fault.
In practical terms, like, how do you reorient a company towards that sort of fear of failure has been unshackled, you know? Because you might, a company might have a very, very different starting point.
Sure.
Right? What's sort of the first step that you can take as a team leader or as an executive to start to reorient that? You know, knowing that that's the destination, that I can come and we can have a failed celebration with donuts on the table on a Friday.
Yeah. It has to come from the leadership. The leader has to admit failure first. You have to have vulnerability. You have to have authenticity, and you have to own your shit, basically, and say, okay, I stuffed up here. Hey, everybody, I stuffed up. And I'm telling you this, not because I want you to laugh at me, because I don't want you to fall into the same hole. Yeah. I look at many businesses where people are doing the same mistakes all the time because nobody knew the office next to them did the same thing, but no, they hide it under the carpet because they don't want to seem like, oh, that was my thing. So it really is leadership first. The CEO, the team leaders, the execs, we have to go, hey, that mistake. Yes, there were lots of people who were part of that, but I own this. And mistakes happen. What can we do differently? How can we protect you? How can we do things? So I really think that, and leaders are usually the worst at being vulnerable because we feel like we have to be stoic because that style of leadership. And leadership is really interesting, right? So I'm really fascinating in people. I think because I'm a weird nerd and I see these people get into positions of power and I'm like, you have no skills in this space. So I was employed at a company where a guy was employed at the same time. And in that period of that company, I watched him get promoted 5 times and I hadn't been promoted yet. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he got promoted into roles that he has no skills in. So I took him out for coffee and I said, hey, I just don't understand. Anyway, he said, oh, it's the voice inside your head. And I'm like, oh, what voice? And he said, the voice inside your head that tells you you're awesome every day. And I was like, what?
My voice doesn't tell me that.
And I was like, hold on, we're playing a different game. Because I didn't even apply for these roles because my voice on the side of my head was like, you are not qualified, you do not have that. And I realized that some people in positions of power are only there because they really think they can, even though they have no skills in it. And then I started interviewing lots of people of power. I will admit they were all men. And I said, hey, tell me about your voice inside your head. And they all came back with that, the one that says I'm awesome. And I was like, oh, we tend to promote people into these positions because of their overconfidence, not necessarily because of their skill set. And those are the people who are making the decisions that were going in a direction. And I was like, but all of us nerds in the room are going, this is the wrong direction. And so I see these these sets of cultures being created about who we promote. And you're like the quiet leader, right? It's really hard. I'm a terrible manager of people, right? Because I'm highly empathetic and I don't want to
But doesn't that make you a great leader of people?
Yes, but it also is a massive burden because I take on all of the stress whereas the person I put into the CEO role at Nano Girl Lab, he is like, he doesn't care. Like, he does care, but he doesn't take that stuff home with him. And I go, okay, cool. What I need is a people person there, but I can work in conjunction with them so I know what our skill sets are and how we differ. And often they'll say something and I'll be like, oh, you might want to go back to the person because I know you're not feeling it deep in your heart, but I felt that meeting thing. And so I think there's positions that we are all built to be in. And I'm not sure leadership should be one role or another. It can be a complementary set of people who help the organisation
or just
to
this
build
linear
this country.
progression. Well, Dan's been in this role for this long.
Totally.
It's about time that we move him up. And
Amazing, right? Happens all the time.
so have you been working on rewriting that voice in your head?
I try. I try to have an argument with that voice.
Yeah.
But I think it's ingrained, and I talk to lots of women, it's ingrained in us from a very young age. Our fear of failure, imposter syndrome. I think it's a very hard voice to not have instinctively, but I think you can then hear it, know of it, and then negotiate with it.
What does this not look like? For someone that's listening in and going, oh, I want to I want to create a culture that is inclusive to all types of quiet and loud leaders. Where are the tripwires that they're going to think that this is an appropriate pursuit, but they're going to get it catastrophically wrong? What does it not look like?
If you want to create a culture for your people and your people will be diverse, talk to your people. There's no one set rule because organizations are very different and you have different sets of people and different levels. And, I'm a massive advocate for neurodiverse friendly workplaces. And if you are not neurodiverse, you don't even know what that looks like, right? And you don't know that when somebody's got some headphones on, it means don't tap on my shoulder. Like just understanding within your organization what works for them. How do you ask your people what do they need and how would it work for them? I think you can go, oh, we're going to do this, and everybody's like, cool, but that doesn't fit me. So again, it goes back to, I just call them listening groups. Just listen to your people and go, hey, how do you thrive? So at Nano Girl, we have a work any hours you want, right? We're full flexi, full remote. We were before even COVID was cool. And we did that because our people said to us, hey, we've got early learners. I've got people who love to get up at 4 a.m. That's when their brains are on. They are useless in the afternoon. I don't want them in my office in the afternoon if they're useless. We had an amazing member of staff and she did circus track class. So she would train circus tricks from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. in the afternoon every weekday. Cool. She's got joy. If I made her sit at a desk from 1 to 4, she was just doodling anyway. Yep. But she's done all of her work early. She's done some circus, and then she'd log on at night and just finish off some stuff.
I feel as though that's been one of the silver linings of the pandemic is that we've started to stretch what the workday might look like, and we've started to understand, that whole of person employment, and some people
I think we've come back, though. I think there's around the edges now, people are like, oh, you got to come back to the office or 3 days a week or or do you, I feel
Why do you think that is?
Trust.
Yeah.
I think we've lost trust in people doing what they need to do in their work. And I think it's a real shame because I think flexibility allows you. The reason why I brought flexibility into Nano Girl Labs is I wanted the best talent. And I had the most incredible women who had come from big corporate roles, and often now they were parents, and they just needed flexibility.
Yep.
And we gave them flexibility, and we hired way above our pay scale because flexibility was much more important to these women than the big corporate ladder. And I think that really matters. And work is only one part of your life, and if you bring your whole life to your work, you're a much better employee and you solve problems better too.
What do you hire for in your leaders right now?
Oh, it's really hard. So curiosity is our big one. We do a big curiosity test. We really push people around. In an interview, we'll push you. And what we want you to say is, I don't know, in an interview. And that's a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
But if you say that, it's almost like a cool, you're on my top list.
Yep.
And we hire. So I use the strengths matrix, which is it's the Gallup Strengths Finder.
Yep.
So we use that much more than we hire based on experience, because what we try and do is have a whole suite. So we have our strengths matrix of our employees up on the wall, and I know what we're missing.
So you can just go,
we're missing.
Amy's strengths.
I need more woo. right? And so we'll hire somebody who's got woo, because we know in the organization that's what we're missing. We all have our strengths cards on our table. So if you come to my desk, I've got my top 5 strengths on a card, because what it allows me to do is when I come to you, I'm like, oh, you're a ... learner, whatever mine are, like learner strategy, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to maybe give you this question in a way that I think you might understand it better, but I'm a woo, so I'm just going to like woo, and like woo is all like, you talk a lot and you're very, right? But it allows you to then communicate with other staff members, seeing on their table that their brain works this way. Yeah. And so we often hire for the bits we're missing. So at different points in our organization's time, we're looking for different things.
One of the things, again, that precedes Nano Girl's reputation is this sort of ravenous culture of learning. What's one rule of corporate learning that you'd love to just throw out and rewrite that you think we're just getting wrong?
Stop sending everybody on the same course to learn the same thing. We are not the same. And in the world of AI with personalized learning, right, what we tend to do is go, oh, here's your onboarding. Watch this 2-hour video, blah, 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 blah. And then you're done. And you're expected to be onboarded now because you watched the 2-hour video.
Here's your digital accreditation. And
like it doesn't work like that. And the reason why I sucked at school is because I learned later on in life, I'm a kinesthetic learner. It's the reason why I'm an engineer. I build things. You want me to learn something? Let me build it. Let me poke it. Let me touch it. Let me play with it. And then I get it. Yeah. You put me in front of a 2-hour video, my brain is already I've sat through your video, but I'm not onboarded. Yeah. And so I think celebrating how people learn differently and being able to give them what they need so they can be the best in their role. I don't think we do that. I think we're very good at the vanilla. Everybody have a vanilla ice cream. Now you're all vanilla ice creams, as opposed to going, where are your sprinkles? How do we help your sprinkles to manifest?
How do we find our sprinkles? I love that. Michelle, we have a ending tradition. I'm going to give you 5 quick fire questions. I know that this is the little bit that's made you a little bit nervous. First thought wins. Michelle, what's one hot take you believe about what's to come that no one agrees with?
I have a really bold statement.
Go for it. We love bold statements.
I think our young people's brains are going to turn to mush if we don't help them navigate AI at a time when their brains are really forming these neural connections. So my hot take is we're going to basically have a whole generation of idiots unless we protect our children today.
What's the most important thing you've let go of?
Look, I have public profile. And I get trolled every day. People hate me. There are people who are on the internet who are mean. And I've had to not let go of. Instead, I've had to grow thick skin, which is a horrible thing to have to do. But I've had to stop crying over every horrible comment that I see online. I still cry a little bit. But I've just had to accept that the world is a bit mean online and not quit and keep going.
Don't let them get to you, mate.
I know, it's so hard, though.
What would you love written on your gravestone?
I want a sort of a Maya quote, something about Michelle, it wasn't what she did, it was how she made me feel.
I love that. That's one of my favourite answers to that question.
Yeah.
What's one rule you secretly wish you hadn't broken?
Do you know, I'm going to say none, because I am who I am today, probably because I broke all of them. Breaking rules actually is why I'm here. If I followed all the rules, I would not be here today.
We'll accept the answer. Last one. What question are you most tired of being asked?
What my real name is. Nobody knows my real name because Nano Girl is such a massive brand now, and people stop me in the supermarket. People want autographs, blah 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 blah, but they don't want my actual name. They just want Nano Girl, and so I'm tired of being asked after. They're like, oh, Nano Girl, blah blah blah. Oh, do you have a real name? And I'm like, wow, I'm not a person anymore. I'm just a character. That's cool. No, what is my name?
The character's going to bring about the change that you want to make.
So powerful. Maybe I'll change it by default to my real name.
Well, keep ignoring those trolls, Michelle. Don't let them get to you because you're doing phenomenal work.
Thanks so much.
And I hope that our children inherit a better world because of it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming along. Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Dickinson.
Thanks.